So this is where we are right now, right? So what we want to do now is that when we click on this vote, right, we should see a pop-up menu that will come and then tell us that, okay, um are we sure that we want to vote for Sarah Mensah? Are we sure that we want to vote for David Osei? So a layer of confirmation, right? So that we don't just click vote and that's it, right? So that you don't do it by mistake, but will actually pop up something so where you actually confirm. That's what we want to build today. Now we are going to be organizing our files along the way. You need to keep that in mind. Always be organizing your file, like separating of concerns, right? It even happen in the small units of UI. So what we want to do is that, so this candidate card, let's go to the vote screen. So on the vote screen, we have the candidate, right? For each candidate card, this is the candidate card, right? We need to enter the candidate card, right? Because that's what we are trying to make sure that we are trying to locate this button, the button here. When you locate the button here, when you press on that button, so that button is inside the candidate card. So we are going inside, control press, and in the candidate card we go to and look for that button, and this is the button and this is the on press. This is what we need to do there. So when you press on the button, what should happen? A pop-up menu should come, right? So I'm opening the curly bracket and say show pop pop-up menu here, right? But we want to use the pop-up menu dialog. We have learned it using alert dialog, but this time we are going to use just dialog in this session to do this particular one. But because of our origin of concern, we are going to actually create a file, right? Create a component, yeah, inside the component. We are inside the component already. We are going to create another file called let's call it it's going to be the function that will show, right? Because when we learn the show dialog button, dialog box, when we read the alert one, we know that it was just a function that needs to be called, right? So we need to create that function. So dialog function, right? Dialog underscore function dot that. That's what we want to call over here. Now, how do we create that function? So that function is going to return a future. So it's a future, but that future will be a void, right? And then you say show custom dialog. So we are showing our own custom dialog, right? Then that particular dialog, let's open it up. To have, let's open it up like this, right? So we have build context, right? Or context, yeah, context. Then after that, the build context, we also need to we are just building the pop-up, right? Then the pop-up is just going to show, but then we need to supply what's going to be inside the pop-up, right? So that's going to be required something. For require, we need the curly bracket within the parentheses. So I'm here, right? This is where we are passing the argument, and inside the argument we provided the build context first, right? That will take the context, right? But inside the curly brackets, they're going to be required. We are requiring a widget which is going to be called a child. That's what we are going to need. So the reason why we put it inside this curly bracket, so that it becomes, the child becomes a named argument, so that we can pass it as a name argument. Maybe when we are calling it, then I will show you how. But build content, we just pass it like that. But for the second argument, we try to put it in a curly bracket so that it comes out as a name parameter. So that when we are actually using the object, we'll be having something like child, then we pass the rest of the content inside. All right. So let us return. So that's the function. Now we are going to return show dialog itself. Dialog. Show dialog. Yes, this one. So it comes with context. Let's put it to semicolon. It comes with context and it comes with builder. The context is already the context that is how do you call it? We have code in the argument. So context, right? And that context will come with a curly bracket as well. Okay, so this is what we have. So we see this similarly when we were doing the alert dialog, and I explained all these things. So right now I'm going to just continue. There's a full video on that, on using the dialog, right, making it pop up. So what we need to do is we are going to return dialog, not alert dialog. Alert dialog, we've done a video on that. We are just changing it to using dialog now, so that you get to learn it. For dialog, you need to do everything yourself, do the entire content yourself. But for alert dialog, you need to worry about there's a content, the body, but the title and the action places are provided for you. But if you want to customize the full content to a different thing, right, you have to just call dialog, and then everything will be nicely done for you. So we are just using dialog, and inside the dialog, we are going to supply a child, right? The child is going to be the child that will pass. This child that will pass, right? So let's call it content child. Yeah, let's call it content child. So meaning that for the child of the dialog, we are going to say content child. That's what we need. But we're passing the content child. That's what we have here. Now, so that's the function that we call. We'll come and decorate them later, right? Where this I call, you can set the background color and everything and all the blah blah blah, right? So yeah, that's just about it, right? So we want to go and use it, but before we use it, we need a widget, right? We need to come up with how the content will look like. For how the content will look like, let's create another file called dialog. So dialogs, right? So let's say dialog underscore content. That's that. Here we are going to define any dialog content that we will need. But this one we are going to say root confirmation dialog content. That will be the first one. So let's create. It's going to be a stateless, right? It should be a stateless class called confirm root dialog. That's how we are going to call it, and then we are going to import flutter material, right? So by this dialog, what is it needing to take? For the dialog, inside the dialog, we are going to show the name of the person, right? So final candidate name. We need to show the candidate name, and then yeah, we need to show the candidate name like that, right? So inside that, we go to the key, like the argument, the constructor. We do required this dot candidate name. I'm not really going into detail of all this because I've covered all this already, right? Now we are just using those concepts now. So candidate name is going to be a string. So it's a string, right? So that's what we are having. Now let's go to, so we now have a sample content, right? This is the contents of that dialog. So we have the dialog function, right? So anytime we want to use any dialog, we call this, and now we need to pass the contents. How do you prepare the content? That's what we need to I want to prepare in the dialog content, right? I have one here, confirm both dialog, or so confirm both dialog content. Yeah, let's call it like that. Content, confirm both dialog content, something like that. So this is a confirm both dialog content, right? And this is a function that is needed to call it. This is a function that is needed to call it, right? You call this function, then you pass that content to it that we prepared. This is the content and this is the function. But what are we using them? We are using them on the vote screen. So on the vote screen, inside the candidates, right? So I think the candidates, we say on the button, show pop-up dialog here. So we will say show custom dialog is here. So we have the content and the content chart. So now we are now coming to use it now, and I wanted to explain what we mean by name parameter. For the name parameter, you see context just came as content instead, right? It's only coming, it's taking the current context. So you see this context is not coming like this one. You see how this one came like the argument's name against what we are going to actually supply, right? This is a name parameter. But you see the first one, it just came like context. It's taking the variable directly without needing any pre-provided arguments. So it's argument against the distance for name parameters, argument against the actual value, right? So here we are going to change the actual value to um confirm vote dialog content. Yeah. So you need to provide the candidate name, right? Where are we now? Where do we get the candidate name? We are on the candidate card, right? On the candidate card, here we call it name. So we go inside, we say, okay, for the confirm vote dialog box, we are going to supply the name that the person will give here. So we are just taking the name and then, so basically, yeah, that's what we have. We just call the dialog, right? This is show dialog custom function is a separate universal function that we wrote, right? So that whenever we call it, it's going to pop up a dialog for us. When it pops up a dialog for us, we need to actually supply how that contents of the dialog should look like. But this particular show custom dialog will allow you to call dialog anywhere at all, right? So it is one. So you just focus on preparing the content somewhere, and then that content for now we say is going to be confirm vote dialog contents, which we prepared so far. And then we say that is also that particular confirm vote dialog content is going to take the name of the candidates. That's what it does, candidate name. So we prepare that. Let's see how it comes up so far. So if I click on vote, you see some white dialog shows up. I click on vote for this person, this one also shows up. I click on this one, this one also shows up. So like a dialog shows up, right? So we have done that working. So now we need to focus on how that dialog is looking white, right? Let's make it transparent. Let's make it transparent. That dialog should look bit transparent. So the dialog itself, I'm going to dialog function, right? Inside it, I want to change how do you call it, some of the settings. So something like background color. Background color should be colors dot transparent, right? So if I press, you can see when I press on it now, it comes but you will not see it. It comes but you will not be able to see it because I've made everything transparent, right? If I click on this, it's also come but you will not see it. Yeah, it's coming, it's here, that but you will not see it, right? That's how it also shows up. Yeah, so we need to, I think that's good for now. That's good for now. We'll actually focus on decorating it later, right? The child later, but then let's focus on the content. Let's focus on the content. Now let's go to the content, and the content is saying now, okay, now in the content we just have how do you call it? Just a container, right? That shouldn't be a container. We just want it inside. It should rather be a column because the thing will arrange from top to down, right? So you need to invite a column instead, and then in the column you need to call the children. So you know children. For columns, you know the things are arranged from top to down, right? So what will come first? At the top, I want to have question mark icon, and then info that says, are you sure to vote for the person, right? So you want to go into show, so there'll be a question mark icon, right? And then on that you have an info. That's going to say, are you sure you want to vote for this person? And then we also print the name from top to down, right? And then we'll have two buttons, right? One for yes and one for no, all on same line. So that will be like, that will mean that we need to put this inside a row, right? For it to be horizontally arranged all on the same line. So we need a row for that. So this is how we are going to position the thing. So let's start with the question mark. For the question mark, we are going to say icons, um, icon into bracket, icons dot, um, question underscore mark. Let me use rounded, right? Rounded. All right. So that's the first thing. Let's refresh and click on vote. Okay, nothing is showing. Let's for to restart. Let's for to restart it. Let's see how it shows up. Okay, my icon still did not show. Right. So let's see what happens. What happened right now? Why is it that my iPhone is not showing? Let's go to, I don't know, my question mark is not showing. I'm expecting the question mark to show, right? Or maybe let me give the icon a size and see. Size of 20. Let's refresh. Okay, it's still not showing. So what I will do is that, so I'm expecting to see a question mark, right? For the column, I'm going to say main axis size is going to be main axis size dot minimum, right? For me to see something, because it was supposed to show. Okay, it's showing. It's showing. That is very small. Maybe I was not showing it, seeing it here. First, let me increase the size, right? To 40 R, because I made the background transparent, so we may not be seeing it, right? So that's it. So let me increase it to close to 50, right? Let's see. Okay, so it's big like this, right? Let me click outside. I click on vote. Then there's a question mark at the top, right? Okay, so that's what we have. But then, don't you think that all these column things should have a background on its own? So for that background, let me go to the function again. And inside the function, inside, you see this chart thing, let's put it inside a column, right? I'm going to wrap this with a column. Oh no, no, not a column. Wrap it with container, so that I can decorate that container, right? That's what's going to happen. Let me see. So let's decorate that container. So let's call it decoration box decoration. Was decoration, comma, let's say color to bracket colors dot blue. You need to add a shade. You see the shade into bracket, like parenthesis 200 or whatever. Let me use parenthesis of 400, right? So with that, let me see what we have. Okay, let me click on vote. Okay, choose this blue thing. I think this is okay, but I don't like the border radius, right? So let's say border radius. So border radius dot circular, let's say 24. Okay, border radius of 24. All right, let's go and continue adding. So we use the function, we go back to the content. Let's focus on the content now. We added a question mark. After the question mark, and we are going to add an info, right? That's just going to be a test. I like putting the things I want to see first before I focus on decoration. So the first thing I want to see here is when I enter, I'm going to say, are you sure you want to vote for? Then that's what we are going to show. And after that, we are going to still show a test again. That's going to say name or candidate name. Candidate name. We are going to show the candidate name after, because it's a column, so we are arranging question mark will come first, Then this question will follow. Then candidate name. Are you sure you want to vote for? Then the candidate name will show, and then we'll have a button. But let's see what we have currently. Okay, yeah. So you see, we have. Are you sure you want to vote for Sarah Mensah? I click on another person. Are you sure you want to vote for David Osei? And then, are you sure you want to vote for Jessica Ankoma? So right, the names are showing, right? So now we need to pull up the buttons, but I think I need to put nice space between the things. I don't think there is a space constant size box, and then it's going to be a height spacing. That's going to be let me start with 2 and see how far away they are. um I don't think that's okay. Let me do 10. Okay, no problem. Let me use 10 as the space between them. That is, then I'll add a space. Okay, these ones are going. Candidate name. After the candidate name, I'm going to add the buttons, right? So yeah, so now let's add the rules. Um so we are going to add two buttons that are going to say it will be in a row, but there will be two buttons, and then the row comes with what? Children, right? And then those children, they are going horizontally. So for the first one, let's show the yes button. So and then there will be a no button. Now for the yes button, let's do an elevated button. There will be an unpressed, and then there will be a child. For the unpressed, we will need nothing for now. When you press on the yes button, nothing for now. Let's focus on, so in the chart, what do we need? It's going to be a text that says that button is going to contain a text, and that text will say yes vote, something like that, right? Yes vote, right? Let me copy the same thing for the new button. Copy. I'm going to the new button, Control V, and then say that one is going to be no, cancel. No, we are going to cancel. Let me close these guys. All right, so let's see how they should come up. Oh, this one, they look too crazy at the edge, right? So what we need to do is that we need to say, okay, for this row, let the row be wrapped inside the expanded. We are going to wrap it in expanded so that they can take that full button. Oh, what am I doing? Nope. This is not the row. Oh, the row is going to, no. Elevator button. Right? Each of the elevator buttons should be expanded. The second ones will also be wrapping expanded. Expanded just allow them to expand as much as possible in that particular parent widget. So the parent widgets are in a row, right? Right now they are in a row. Oh, my distance is not coming. It has refused. My art thing is not working. I need to stop it and rerun it again. All right. So we've seen the arrangement. Let's wait for it to load. Let's wait for it to load so that you can see that it is ready. All right. So the expanded allow them to take. So expanded are inside the row, right? If you put the buttons are inside the row, and if you put expanded around it, what the expanded will do is that expanded will allow them to take as many space as much as. So you see they take a space, but then they are too close to each other right now. So what we'll do is that um we'll add a horizontal space between them. This is a yes button. So constant size box, and that's going to be a width, right? Because we are doing a horizontal spacing of 10 again. Let's see how it comes out. Okay, okay, okay. I think that's good. That's good. All right, we'll come and decorate them later. But this is the whole interface that we want to have. We want to have a question mark at the top and all the blah blah blah. Like, you understand? So we are just decorating the content. So we've been able to decorate the icon at the top, the question marks, and then the blah blah blah. So yeah, so yeah, so let's focus on this particular file that we have currently. Is just about the content. It's just the content, not the card itself. The entire card itself is being organized by dialog function. The dialog function retains a container, right? That's the container that you decorate here, right? That's the container for the dialog. But what you show inside is a separate thing that will pass to this one, so that there will be separation of content. If you want to worry about the dialog container itself, you come here. But if you want to worry about the content you are putting on that dialog, you need to make sure that you come here and do the thing. So first we have a question mark. So here's a column arranging from top to down. So you have the first one, you have an icon, right? And then we have a text, and then we have a space and a candidate name, and then we have this. Now let's start decorating these guys. Let's go back to the top, start decorating from the icon. Right, so decoration is actually the last thing I focus on when I'm done. So let's go to the icon. Right, so for the icon, for us to decorate the icon, let's put it inside container. Right, container, we just arrange the container. Yes, so let's put it inside a container. Right, so forget that mistake for now. That one for now, right? So for the container, we are going to do a padding around it, constant edge insets dot, or give a value of 16, right? Just giving a padding around the question mark. So remember, we are just focusing on the question mark, so we are decorating it one by one, right? So the padding, and then let's decorate the container for the icon. Boss decoration. We will be using decoration for now. So I hope that by now, through this experience, you come through all that. You just be used to both container decoration. Like we've seen the gradient one. Now we are using. So let's go inside the color. Right, for the color, the color of the container, colors dot blue, but the background color is like shading of 400, right? I want this one to be, let's say, 200. Let me see how it comes out. Okay, a bit light on it. Okay, let me change the shape, right? The shape is going to be box shape dot circle. Right, let me see how this one comes out. Okay, but it's too close to the edge, so it's too close to the edge. So everything is too close to the edge. So what we need to do, we need to allow the dialog function itself to be able to control everything. So I'm going to the custom dialog function itself, right? This is the container for the dialog. It's containing the dialog, right? So what I want to do is that inside that container, I want to be able to allow everything inside to be away from it, basically. So let me allow a padding, right? Let me see. um so let it be wide as possible, right? So let's say the width the width is going to be double dot infinity. Infinity means that let it be as wide as possible. That's what it does. The width should be as wide as possible. That's for the container. We are doing the dialogue, right? Not the content. So um we need to focus on the padding as well. The padding, let's add an edge insert dot or of, let's say, 24. Let's see how it comes out. um Let me close this and open it again. Okay, yeah, it's reflecting, right? It's really at the edge now. All everything, nothing is put at the edge because we came to the container. We see that everything is, I push them to a padding of 24 around everything, so they are no more close to the edge. So let me remove it, and then you will see the, if I remove the padding edge, control, and I put R, right? Sometimes you have to close this thing and open it again. Then you see how they are close to the edge. It's not looking nice. Let's bring it back. If you bring it back, then you click on it, you see that okay, they are now far away from the edges. Okay, what's the next thing now? So yeah, so I'm going to I'm going back to the content. So you see how I'm organized. If I want to work on the dialogue itself, I come here. If I want to work on the content, right, I go here, because the content is worried about what is on the dialogue, right? So that we don't have to have everything in one place. It will be too clumsy. So what we did so far is just decorating the question mark. So the question mark is ready. Like for me, I don't know what you want to add. You want to change the color and everything. Yeah, so do as you wish, right? Okay, so that's what I have. And now for this text, right? Are you sure you want to vote for? I want to read the font size, right? Star test star. This one too, I think we're using this test star. Yes. We are going to put a comma in front of it for safety, right? And then test out, I think font size, I want to use, like, let's say 16. Okay, it's quite bigger, but I want to make the name of the candidate, right? It's also have like star test star comma font size of the other one was what, 10, no, font size of 16. This one I want to go like 24. Hey, let me see how it will be looking like. Okay, yeah, let me make it bold. Let me make this one bold. Width font width dot bold. Yeah, it's bold now. So are you sure you want to vote for Sarah Mensah? Right, let me close it. And then are you sure you want to vote for David Osei? And then can this one too? Are you sure you want to vote for Jessica Ankoma? And then they all show up. But that's not, let's go and focus on the buttons. The buttons are not looking nice. Right, we don't have to work or we need default one. So we need to go to this is the yes button, right? Let me go to the yes button. Let's make it greenish kind of, and then for the no, make it reddish. Yeah, something like that. So for that, we are going to call a star, right? We are going to say elevated button dot star from elevated ddd dot star from. Let me put a comma at the end, right, for safety. Yeah, that's what happens. So what do we need to start? I think we need to change the something like the color, right? Color. Let's change something like the color of the button. What color? Actually, for this one, I said I will use green, right? So for the button, I'm going to change the background color to colors dot green. But I want to give it a shade of, let's say, 300. I guess I hope 300 will be looking nice. A shade of 300. Let me put All right. But let me reduce it to 200. Let me see. Okay. For me, like yes for green. Just I don't want to like yes for to mean green like life something. But this rounding button, let me change the um, shape. Let's shape the shape to use rounded rectangle border, right? This rounded rectangle border. So we are going to say border radius is going to be border radius dot circular, right? 12 border radius circular dot 12. Let's put R. Okay, you see it's kind of hey, do we like it? Let me see 15 and see. No, it's getting closer to. Let me do 10. Okay, this is okay for me. It's okay for me, right? But the text on it, but let me copy this thing, the star. So I'm copying the star here, copy, and I'm giving it to the no button, right? This is the no button. No, this is it. So elevated button, child, this guy over here, and then on top of the elevated button, we need to control B with the star, but the color is going to be something like red, right? Just to mean no. Let me see. All right, this one shows yes, no, yes, no, yes, vote, no, cancel, yes, vote, no, cancel. So what happens is that okay, so that's what happens, right? No, yes, they are all buttons, right? No, cancel, but the test is not looking really nice. The test is not really looking nice. So so for the test, let's start the test, right? And say tester, and um font size. Let me go to 16 and see. I think this is the on the no button, right? No, cancel, and then font width. Font width is going to be font width dot w 900. I don't want to use dot bold me. Okay, the color of the text, shouldn't it be black? Should we? What color is that? I want to use black, right? So it's going to be color colors dot black 87, around the 87 weight on it, on the black. Yeah, so this one is more visible, right? No cancel, right? Okay. We'll redesign things like as we move on, but right now we need to have in mind how these things are actually working, right? No cancel, yes, vote. So I've been able to decorate that one. I'm going to send a similar style to the text at the top, copy it, the text here, the yes text. Let's go to the next line, paste it. Um, yeah, so yes, vote, no, cancel. Or should the yes vote should be white? Should it be white? But yes, vote, no, cancel. And then I think this works, right? Right now, if you can't click on cancel, we need to. For no, we are not showing anything now, right? For no cancel, I've seen if you say no cancel, the dialog box should go. So for the no, we are going to do this. So remove the dialog box from the screen. When you click on no, right, on press of the no cancel button, how do you do like context dot pop? If you're able to do this, you don't use the navigator this thing, because we are using this because of what go router thing that we set, right? The go router thing allows you to do that. If it's not coming, click on this and then import whatever go router on this particular screen. It is here on the top where it was install it automatically, right? It was imported automatically when I, I choose or click on enter on my this thing. So by then, yeah, when you click on this, we need to pop basically. Let's refresh and click on no cancel and it will go, right? So right now it's ready. So are you sure you want to vote for? I don't think this test is looking really great. Are you sure you want to vote for? I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Click on no cancel. Click on the video say no cancel, and then no cancel, and then no cancel for this guy as well. So what will happen is that we will be able to yeah, we'll be able to show, yeah. So I think this one is okay. What we need to focus on next time will be something like the yes. When the person click on yes, right, we need to be able to see an updated version of whatever we are seeing here. That's what we'll focus on next time. But right now we'll be able to implement this, or right. So right next time we'll focus on when someone click on the yes button, what should happen inside. That should be our next focus. All right, now we have button like that shows up, a dialog box that shows up based on. So you can change your colors, right, to make sure things work. I challenge you to use another color for the whole app, right, so that you don't follow the same blue and thing, so that you make your own color choices, right? So me, I'm just making my color choices as I'm moving along the way.